Recitation of Lord's Prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. It's now 7 o'clock. Shelby City Council meeting is called to order. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated, please. Roll call, please, Mr. Colonel.
Mr. Robb. Mr. Roberts? Here. Mr. Cutler? Here. Mr. Martin? Mr. McLaughlin?
Here.
We do have notice that Mr. Martin is on his way, so we will proceed with Mr. Martin is here now. Mr. Martin, you just want to say present? I am here. All right, okay, very good for the record. Thank you. Mr. Robb is out of state, and so will not be with us here this evening. I'll now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal from May 19th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin to dispense with the reading of the journal from May 19th, 2025. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
That motion passes. And now it comes to the time for public comment. If anyone has any public comment they'd like to make to the council, everybody that comes to the podium, state your name and address, and make your comment at this time.
Ted Claiborne, 17 West Gaylord Avenue, Shelby. I had the pleasure of playing in a golf tournament this past weekend, put on by the Shelby Fire Department. And I want to compliment them. They had 22 teams, four people to a team. It was their first year to do so. They had $8,000 before the event even began that they raised. And I don't know just exactly how much they had or how much they made, but they made some money from the participants during the meeting. I have never seen an event put on by anyone in their first try that was as successful as theirs, and I wanted to compliment them.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Claiborne.
Thank you.
Mr. Claiborne, it's always nice to accentuate the positive. Good to hear good news, so happy for our fire department. Thank you for reporting on that. Any other public comment? Hearing or seeing none, move forward to reports from standing and special committees. The Community Economic Development Committee met. Councilman Cutler.
Yeah, this was a pretty short meeting, as Mrs. Gribbins was not in attendance for that. Thankfully, the mayor over here gracefully filled in for her, as much as possible anyways.
Yep.
So, like I said, there wasn't much to say, so I'm just going to highlight a few of the things that we talked about. I think it was like a 13-minute long meeting. So they're still looking for more answers on how the CHIP program is currently being ran. Trying to get some questions answered on that. We wanted to highlight that the CIC is not buying the firehouse, and it is not being given to them. They are just acting as a quote-unquote realtor in that scenario for the city. So we just wanted to kind of highlight that. The flowers are up. on Main Street, and they are looking wonderful. And they did a real good job with the flowers. They really enhanced the beauty of the city. On Saturday, we had our first bee festival. It was a great turnout. I went down there a little bit later, and there was tons of people, band playing, a really nice event. I think there was 52 or 53 vendors down there, so I mean, we really had a good turnout for our first bee festival. Hopefully there'll be more to come of the bees. And then regional planning is still ongoing, and really have no new updates to give on that. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Cullip. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. Cullip in regard to his report? Mr. Mark?
I'd just like to tack on, that was very, very well done. Yes.
Yes. Indeed.
Buzzword.
Yes. Yeah, we got a weekend of that. All righty, so moving forward then, the Public Works and General Operations Committee did not meet. So I'll move forward then to reports of city officials. I have a very brief report myself this evening. Since our last council meeting, I've been occupied with typical mayoral duties and delights. On May 22nd, Mr. Jim Hunter, our former mayor of Shelby, passed away. Mayor Hunter positively impacted and influenced thousands of lives through his selfless service as a councilman, mayor, school teacher, sports announcer, and theater advisor. So we join his family and friends in celebrating the remarkable accomplishments of his storied life. And then kind of piggyback on what our councilman said earlier, last Saturday, we witnessed the rollout of our very first Shelby Festival. This 6-hour event was an absolute success in so many ways. Hundreds of people of all ages came into the heart of our city to take part in this one-of-a-kind festival. As mayor, I want to sincerely thank the Shelby downtown business team for all of the planning and work they put into this event. It was my joy to work with Kareen Fleck, Aaron Billheimer, and Connie Robb in particular as they guided their exceptional team, and there are many, many volunteers involved with this effort. We also want to express our appreciation to the Richland Area Beekeepers Association for their huge contributions in this inaugural year of festivities. I am confident that this Shelby Festival will grow exponentially in the years ahead, and they're already planning with excitement for bigger and better in 2026. So very good. And we even had some visiting bees come into the area. So there's a little story to that, but we were noticing that some of the high boxes and so forth had perhaps some scout bees from the area that were checking out the new hives. So it's all about the bees anyway. So they were our special guests, invited or uninvited. So it was very, very nice. So kudos to all involved for sure. All right, are there any questions or comments for me? All right, we'll move forward then to Mr. Crum, Director of Finance.
Thank you, sir. Mainly normal operations, my departments for this time of year. We got all of the information for our gap conversion to be finished, and the auditors are starting their preliminary work. I think they're planning on early July coming and doing field work. Of course, they're doing a lot of work off-site already. Just the major things, and then it's that time already for our revenue budget, so I'm putting that together to have on the agenda for next council meeting. That's the first period of our report.
All right. Mr. Crum, any comments or questions for Mr. Crum in regard to his report? Hearing none, move forward to Mr. Eister, Law Director.
But just note there's a couple contracts I'm working on with some outside agencies that are not yet prepared and done, hopefully by next council meeting.
Okay, thank you. And we do appreciate Mr. Eister. I think most all of you know that these contracts require a legal eye to be put on them, keeping us out of any future difficulties. And so it's a line-by-line process, so thank you, Mr. Reister. That's kind of an unseen, unsung job, but we appreciate that. And he's not bashful with a red line pen, so we do appreciate all his efforts. Mr. Geis is not here this evening, so we'll move forward then to new business. Is there any new business that you brought before council this evening? Hearing none, we'll move forward to unfinished business, the smokestack. Maybe, Mr. Jensen, maybe you just kind of report what you reported to me and moving this forward in the days and weeks ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I've successfully made contact with 2 companies that do chimney or smokestack repair maintenance. Both of them have experience in inspecting, maintaining, rebuilding smokestacks. Both have experience at demolition, and they both have experience at renovating a smokestack for decorative purpose. So I do have some contacts, waiting on some quotes to figure out which way we want to go. Mayor Shea and I discussed this. We're going to refer this back over to a committee for further discussion. So I have made contact with them. So.
We'd like to ask what the pleasure would be if you go under utilities committee, since it's right there about electrical property, or obviously to public works and general operations. But what would be your pleasure, gentlemen? Mr. McCartney?
I feel like utilities is probably the easiest way. It is the utilities building and it's still the smokestack there and the water tower paintings and all that one under utilities. So it just makes, I think, sense. On that note, is there a way to reach out to the people that do our water towers and see if smokestacks is something that they might do as well, especially if we're considering a decorative type thing like we do with our water towers, because being able to be put on some kind of 10-year schedule, I think, would be probably a lot more palatable financially if we're looking to possibly go that direction.
I can just talk to them.
Yep.
And it may be something they absolutely don't do because they're like, well, no, we would like to, but I think it's working because they've done an exceptional job with our water towers.
Very good. So we'll, with the council's blessing, we'll move this piece of business. It'll still remain as unfinished, but we will take that to the utilities committee and try to refine this and bring that to council. All right. Any other unfinished business? All right. Hearing none, let's move forward to legislation. We have a good number of pieces of legislation.
Ordinance number 11, 2025. Determining that certain real property owned by the city of Shelby be sold and designating the Community Improvement Corporation of Shelby, Ohio, Inc. as the city's agent in the sale of said real property.
For second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 11, 2025. Discussion. Mr. Martin.
We had some questions on there. I see the email here. I don't know if the email necessarily answers the question. I guess the main question was, can we preliminarily, can the COA be submitted? I don't see where that's forbidden from this, so I think that we could probably get COAs in advance.
Not
Mr. Deister, would you care to comment? Pardon?
I'm not in a position to answer at the moment.
Okay. I think the attention was drawn to perhaps, if you don't mind, gentlemen, if I just join part of the discussion here, under like the parentheses 2, the property owner may within 10 days, and I think the word owner is used in the preceding paragraph as well, the last sentence, with the owner to achieve. And so I think that's an answer that Mr. Eister can maybe get back to us in the next meeting. I think that was what Mr. Geister kind of pointed at, saying, boy, that may give us some direction. So, Mr. Mark.
Yeah, and I see that, but I don't see where it has to be the owner who submits it. So now, it could be that we want to change that language in F1 and F2 to be the applicant may, within 10 days, because I guess you don't want to be in a situation where someone who wants to purchase the property is denied, but I'm not saying this would ever happen, but something like ticky-tack that, you know, city council's like, I don't think that's a big issue. But they can't even bring it up for an appeal because they're not the property owner under this. So it kind of puts them in a, could they apply for it? Maybe, but then they can't appeal it. So maybe that's something then we can go in and just fix the wording to the applicant. I think that will solve that. So if the law director can give us some guidance on whether that would even be a palatable fix.
Yeah, just
In regards to that, I'm not really sure how the COAs really work, because I'm not part of the historical society, but do they need to know what you want to do to the building as part of that?
Yeah, it's usually pretty well laid out. What materials you're going to use, to what extent you're maybe changing the exterior of the building, many factors.
So we would need, whoever wants to buy it, would need to have all that information when they bought it then, correct?
Yes, and that's part of the discussion. Is that contemplated in this ordinance? Or would we need to modify it, or can we modify it, or should we modify that? I think it all goes back to Mr. Ash's office for some good advice. Mr. Mark?
Yeah, to go back to my original item, let's say somebody says, hey, I want to do X with the building. And we're all like, man, that's phenomenal. And then we award the bid to them. But then they go and get a COA and it's denied. And then it's like, well, you can't do that with the building because X, Y, and Z or whatever. Now, I'm just saying having that input at the front end will be valuable, not just to us, I think, but also to the prospective owner. Because sometimes it's just like, okay, you said you were going to use steel, well, you need to use brick. Okay, well, does that change the whole thing? Probably, maybe not. It's a cost thing or whatever, but I think having the COA is an involved process as someone who's gone through that process several times. And so I would hate to see someone, and all of us go, oh, this is one way. And then the Historical Preservation Commission at that point denies it after the purchase is already gone through. I just think having it for, and maybe not always, but for at least for this project, I think it would behoove everybody involved to be able to do that. I also think for prospective owners of other buildings downtown, this is a valuable thing to have in advance. So that, you know, if Jessica finds wind of somebody who's about to purchase a building, have you done a COA application in advance? Well, I didn't know I could do that. Yeah, you can, to get input from the Historical Preservation Commission, because they may get that input from the Historical Preservation and be like, no, I don't want to purchase this building. It's way more involved than I thought. I would much rather see someone pull out of a project before they've invested the money for the building itself than on the flip side. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think, not just for this project, I think long-term, it's better to allow people to submit COAs. So I don't know if we need to change it to prospective buyers or something like that. Again, I'm not the lawyer. I'll let the lawyer do the lawyer things, but I just think it would be helpful from a development standpoint to allow these things to happen before the purchases, right? Because I know a lot of people have made purchases thinking they can do all these wonderful things, and then they go to the Historical Preservation Commission and they're like, well, you can't do any of those things. And so the more information for prospective investors, I think, is always a good thing.
And I think, Mr. Asher, you understand what we're looking for and the guidance we're looking for, owner versus prospective owner and so forth. So, very good. And then I think on the time frame, we were also looking at down at the bottom under section 2, letter B, within 6 months. I think the last little phrase of that section B, there is an extension may be granted by council. So we did talk about that here at the City Hall, and Ms. Griffin, with her real estate background, she felt that 6 months, again, if someone needs the time, we say, hey, we can grant you another 1 or 2 or 3 months. But she was kind of thinking this helps keep the projects moving along doesn't linger. And so we kind of think we'd like that 6 months with the extension that could be granted. Mr. Martin?
Is the thought process also that we're going to possibly do this by emergency on the third reading? I know we had discussed that, so that it would go into effect immediately, they could start looking immediately.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Because I know section B says that effective date of this ordinance, and I would hate to push that off. Yeah,
Another 30 days.
correct.
Right, yeah, we're getting into some nice weather, people can really take a look at the building in and out and so forth. Councilman Cullen?
If we do an extension, will that need to be done by emergency?
I think it's just saying we can, if they think it's gonna take longer than 6 months, that we can say, okay, here's another 2 or 3 months. It's just something we would deal with this, Mr. Martin.
I think we could do that by resolution.
Resolution.
Yeah, it would just be, and we do it by emergency resolution, authorizing the mayor as prospective, blah, 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 to extend the contract, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, right to your point, that, again, we want to, we don't want to rush it, but we want to keep the wheels rolling, as long as it's involved. We don't, it's bad that we always talk about the speed of the government, so we want to try to keep a good speed.
Well, that's kind of why I brought up the 6-month thing, because I thought, well, it's got to come back to council, and it's delay things, and, you know.
I think we're all swimming in the same direction on this one.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 11, 2025, passes the second reading.
Ordinance number 12, 2025, amending chapter 1042 sewer regulations, section 1042.13, limitations on wastewater strength, C, local limits of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 12, 2025. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 12, 2025 passes the second reading.
Ordinance number 13, 2025, amending section 1044.09, septic receiving rate and fee schedule of chapter 1044, sewer charges of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio. For the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 13, 2025. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 13, 2025 passes the second reading.
Ordinance number 15, 2025, proposing an amendment to section 53 of the charter of the city of Shelby and submitting such proposed amendment to the electors.
First reading. Second.
Point of order.
Yes.
Looking at this, it looks pretty much minus some changes in the whereas clauses, which don't have any real legislative value. It looks like an identical copy to what was voted down last year. So I believe that a motion to reconsider is in order.
I did not bring the charter with, I thought, and this is my thing, I thought in the charter language, it was this through one calendar year. It could not reappear in the same calendar year, but I thought a new calendar year brought a fresh slate. Am I
don't have it in front of me, that's my recollection of the charter as well as the calendar year. I think this was last calendar year.
Mr. Martin?
And looking at the language, it seemed to be contradictory. One was session, one was calendar year. We have a continuous, essentially a continuous session. So I didn't, that's the reason I bring up the challenge.
This will get 3 readings. I think that the point of where we're not allowed to accept it at this point, I think we need to move forward, but we have 2 more readings. We'll do a little more research on that. Any further discussion? Yeah, Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay, so, I was a sponsor of this legislation last year. It failed, by a 3-2 vote last year. We needed 4 votes at the time and it failed. So I'm, once again, the sponsor of this legislation. I'll give you some brief background notes. So the reason for the proposed amendment to the Section 53 of the Charter of our city is, background-wise, Shelby adopted a charter that became effective back in 1922. It provides, the charter does provide for amendments and submissions of proposed amendments to the electors of the community. Ohio Revised Code changed in 2014, requiring candidates for the office to file a petition 90 days prior to the election instead of 75 like our charter calls for. So again, our charter, Section 53, still remains at 75, where Ohio's at 90. Under Charter Section 53, the only thing we're going to change is in this paragraph where it says, all nominating petitions shall be signed, filed, and verified, and each candidate's declaration to qualify if nominated and elected shall be filed and verified in the manner prescribed by state law, at least, cross out 75, add 90 days prior to the date of holding such primary election. So I feel this is good for our citizens. It's not just good for the county. It puts us in sync with the Ohio Revised Code. Currently, our citizens have only 1 day to challenge or contest someone's petition. So this would give our citizens 15 days versus 1 day to contest any petition. In addition, the petition signatures are good for 1 year. So my understanding is it would just push it back 15 days as well. So whoever takes out a petition still has almost like 364 days, to take out a petition and get signatures. I say we need to give this to the citizens to vote on election day, and not just let the 5 of us decide. In addition, with Mr. Rob not in attendance, I'd like to give him a chance to speak on this issue as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Martin.
The primary impetus of this being brought up again seems to be in the whereas clause, the ORC section. We asked, last year, we asked numerous times for an actual ruling on whether that applied here or not. Because the language as it is in here seems to suggest that we're somehow out of step with the law. But nobody can actually give us a ruling or willing to put in writing that we are actually out of step with the law and need to change for ORC purposes. Twit, the Board of Election on our petitions this year, they indicated on there when it was due to be turned in. They mentioned the ORC 90 days, but they also mentioned the city of Shelby 75 days, and they accepted the petitions of those who submitted within those 15 days. So even the Board of Election isn't willing to go out on the limb and deny someone's petitions based off of what they feel is the correct ORC interpretation. I guess I fundamentally fail to see what has changed in the previous year that would require a different result. And I'm wondering if Councilman McLaughlin would be willing to help me out in that regard. Why should this be considered this year? What is different? What has changed in the last 360 days that should change our law?
Councilman McLaughlin.
I don't know why. I don't understand why he voted against it last time. This is good for the citizens of Shelby. It's good for the county. It's good for the state. It puts us in sync with the state. In addition, the county, the Board of Elections works very hard throughout the entire year to get our elections ready and make sure they're ready, okay? And this would help them. This would give them an additional 2 weeks to prepare for a primary. Right now, they have to wait on Shelby. Shelby's the only city in Richland County that, does this. The rest of the counties at 90 days. So this is all good for Shelby, the county, the state. I don't see why we're not doing this.
Mr. Cutler?
I mean, I'll fall back on what I said on the last time this came to us. If this helps them do their job a little easier and better down there for the elections, I don't have a problem helping them out and getting a yay vote on this.
Mr. Roberts?
They were here the last time, not the last time, the time before the last time. I asked the question, does this, how much more difficult does this make it for you? And they really couldn't answer that question. It didn't seem to me like they just want everybody to be in sync. It wasn't really that big of a deal. It wasn't that big of a hassle. They just wanted everybody to be in sync. And as Mr. Martin stated, when we asked for something, saying that we were, because she stood right there and said, you're breaking the law. And when we asked for tell us where we are breaking the law, and if we are, then that would make our decision a little bit easier. And we got crickets. They didn't come back. So I don't care one way or another. It's last year maybe I did more than I do now. It's trivial to me at this point. But that did leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth when we asked questions and did not get answers last time. We just didn't get answers.
Mr. McGough?
I've worked with the Board of Elections for several election cycles, helping them get ready for our elections. They do work very hard. This would help them to have an extra 2 weeks. The main issue here, though, it comes down to the way it currently is, with Shelby being at 75 days, that only gives our citizens 1 day to contest somebody's petition, okay? That's effectively not giving them any time at all to contest. So this would help by giving an extra an extra 2 weeks. So there's the benefit to our citizens right there. It doesn't hurt a candidate that takes out a petition because they still have 364 days to get their signatures, into the Board of Elections. So this helps everyone.
Mr. Martin?
I certainly appreciate my colleagues' concerns in this. I certainly don't feel it rises to the level of putting this before the voters. I didn't feel so last year. I don't feel so this year. However, I do feel that giving Councilman Rob the opportunity to offer input, giving my colleagues a chance to convince me otherwise, while I certainly cannot vote for this, and understanding if I don't vote for this, it dies today, I'm willing to move to postpone this legislation to the next council meeting.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to postpone to the next meeting by Councilman Martin and a second by Councilman Cutler. Discussion on the motion to postpone. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutler?
Yeah.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay, yay.
The motion to postpone passes.
All right, ordinance number 17, 2025, amending chapter 1040 water, section 1040.04 rules, regulations, and fixed charges for municipal water system H, additional charges to consumers outside city limits, Rule 45 of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move the first reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the first reading of ordinance number 17, 2025. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 17, 2025 passes as first reading.
Resolution number 18, 2025, authorizing the mayor as director of public service to acquire rights of easement for extension of a water line from 2020 Lead LLC.
Move the resolution taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Cutler for the passage of resolution number 18, 2025. Discussion. Mr. Cutler.
Could you explain this in a little better detail, or Mr. Hensley over there?
Of course, Mr. Hensley could.
It's like, it's like there was something that was messed up in the original report.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this easement would allow a redirection of the water line. At the former Lee Street Trailer Park, if you're looking at the easement area, kind of makes the turn to the south, turn to the north, back to the west there. The current water line goes straight through. The current water line goes straight through the park. To allow more structures to be constructed onto the property was going to be developed. The water line the developer wanted to move the water line around. So that's the reason for this. The water line would be redirected at the easement area, as you see, this is drawn here. So, okay.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 18, 2025 passes.
Resolution number 19, 2025, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of Spruce Street in the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move the resolution taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution 19, 2025. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 19, 2025 passes.
Resolution number 20, 2025, approving the plans and specifications and authorizing the mayor as director of public service to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the 2025 Curtis Drive Sanitary Sewer Extension Project within the city of Shelby, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Move the resolution taken up and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution number 20, 2025. Discussion. Mr. Roberts.
While I will not accept the John Garner Gates Eagle Eye Award because this was passed out to me, in the bid, first bid document page where it says notice the bid is at the top. It's
About 3 pages in,
about 3 pages back.
Three.
It says the Friday, June 26, 2020 is that's the bullet point that's put on here from something we did in the past. The new date should read Friday, June 20th, 2025.
Where we're at the top of page 3, basically there.
Yes.
So we strike June 26, 2020, and replace that with June 20, 2025, correct? By unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, those changes will be made in the final copy. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Resolution number 20, 2025 passes. Well, we reached the point of miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business to be brought before council this evening? Mr. Martin?
I sent out an email to remind my colleagues I will be gone for the next 20 days or whatever it is in Florida. So I'll go by email, etc. I won't be here for the next council meeting, and I won't be here for the committee meetings. And I'll leave it up to my colleague, Councilman McLaughlin, whether he wants to hold the finance committee or not. If Mr. Crum can work that out.
Thank you for that heads up, and hope you have an enjoyable time.
It's 18 people taking them all to Disney, so let's see.
Well, you'd be glad to be with you.
It's a little bit sunnier there than it is here.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other miscellaneous business? Mr. Martin.
Mayor, move council.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. McLaughlin for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
The motion passes. We adjourn at 7:40. Thank you, gentlemen.